Temple filler. Is it the treatment for you? Well, this is not a new treatment, but it is getting a lot more attention right now. There are some fillers that are getting FDA approval for treating this area. To me, temples is always a secret weapon. Again, we don't treat things that we don't need, but as we get older, we tend to lose volume in certain areas. The temples are one of them. People tend to get cheek filler crazy, but what's nice about the temples, if you do have hollows there, revolumizing it makes a very subtle but a significant result in the overall aesthetics of the face. It's not something that most people notice, but hollowing of the temples gives a very tired look naturally. But what we don't want to do is we don't want to obscure the features like the cheekbone. So there really is an art to filling the temples in a way where you're filling it enough so one doesn't look what we call cachectic or too thin in the area, but we still leave the natural contour of the cheekbones. Unfortunately, with all great things, there are going to be abuses of it. Again, we're seeing some more FDA approvals of fillers in this area. What we don't want is to overfill the temple, because what it can do is give a roundness to the face. It can take away the definition of the cheekbone. So don't think just because people are doing it that everyone needs it. There are various types of fillers you can use in this area. I like biostimulatory fillers like Radiesse. People use 𝐓𝐞 too. And you can use HAs or hyaluronic acids in this area, but they tend to not last as long, and we want something that's going to be really long lasting in that area. Now, technique is very important. I wouldn't call this area a dangerous area to treat. Areas in between the eyes or around the nose, I would consider danger zones. But there is a very technique-dependent way to do it to keep it safe, because there are important arteries and nerves in this area. Usually we use a technique where we place it right above the bone, and often in one single injection. By injecting it above the bone, we can fill up the entire area to the way we want. If you need additional treatments, areas of injection, I often use cannulas to get above the orbital rim. Again, there is a balance. When you treat this area, you have to consider the lateral forehead. You have to consider the balance aesthetically with the cheekbone. And I always say, if you put paint on one wall, it can throw off the room. So when you're treating the temples, you do have to look at the rest of the face. But often the temples are an area that are very commonly missed, and that's due to poor aesthetic judgment or just people that don't feel comfortable with treating the temples. So, temple treatments, safe treatment, effective treatment, but it has to be done in the right candidate and consider it with the rest of the aesthetics of the facial structure.